Callum, how's the first day of pre-season gone so far?
Yeah, good. It's great to have everybody back. They all seem in good spirits. So it's just basically be a day of testing. Going through sort of the usual process at the start of the season. Make sure the boys are in good condition, the body fats, etc., to make sure nobody's been having a good time of it. But they obviously haven't had probably long enough off to get themselves in too bad a shape. So no, they've all come back really good. So quite pleased.
And what was the structure for today?
The structure is basically just going through all the testing process that we do. Body fats, we do jumps, counter movement jumps, we do 3 rep max tests, we do some endurance run tests, so just various things like that. Just to cover all bases for all the sports science department and the physio department, and obviously for us to gauge their fitness.
And how did the players respond today?
Yeah, they're good. They're always good. It's one thing we're very lucky here with. I think if there's 1 or 2 that are not pulling their weight, they get carried along by the ones that do. So I think in the end, they all come back really good, and I think that's probably one of the positives here.
And do you feel after 18 days that the guys have had a chance to recharge?
I'm not sure yet. It's a short time, it's very unusual. I think nowadays, professional football is like, it's 12 months a year now. I think back in the day where you had big long breaks, I think that's gone. I think if you want to play it in the big games, cup finals and play in Europe, I think it's a 12-month season. So whether they're fully recharged, I think in the end we'll monitor it in training and we'll look after them that way.
Do you feel that the guys have got a buzz and excitement about them because of these European games coming up?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something they always look forward to. I think at the end of the season, I think with the way they played towards the end of the season, trying to catch Hearts, I think it showed how much it meant for them to get into Europe, because I think it's these games you remember when you're finished. Well, I definitely know when I'm finished playing now, these are the games that I remember. It's the big games you remember. So I think the players are quite happy with it. They're delighted. Some of them are delighted to be back. So it's really looking forward to it.
And what's your best memories of being involved in the European matches with St Johnstone?
Probably full house. McDermott. Simple. I don't think it's going away. It's the away games, it's the home games. I think you get everybody from Scotland, supporting you. And I think in the end, when you get 10,000 people here, it's a great little stadium. It has a great atmosphere. I think that's probably my biggest plus point when we get into Europe.
And what have been the things that you've, the lessons learned maybe from playing in European matches with St Johnstone that you'll try and take into these games?
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can take into it. I think it's different style. You can probably set up a little more tactically. The hard things we have as a club our size is getting information on the team you're playing against. I think that's what we found hard enough. We don't get enough time to prepare, and actually find out how they play, what they do, what their style is. In the end, that's the hard part about playing in Europe so early. The hard part is the games are so near the start of the season, so early, and I think in the end, if you want the Scottish team to be successful, I think it's something we have to look at in Scotland. How can we best prepare our teams to play in Europe? And I think having 3 weeks off and then having to cram in a pre-season to get them ready for Europe is not a great scenario, but there's not a lot else you can do.
In terms of the draw that St Johnstone could have, I think if it was based on last year where it was regionalised for the first round, St Johnstone could end up in Wales and Ireland. Where would you fancy for the first round?
Anywhere but there. Personally, I like to go somewhere different, somewhere where we haven't been. Obviously close enough that supporters can get to, but obviously far enough away, and the only thing I really want is to win the first round, so I don't mind what team we get as long as you can beat them.
What's the plans for the rest of the pre-season building towards the European game? The players are going to be in Largs for next week?
Yes, unfortunately we don't really have a training pitch at the moment, so we've had to move away. Next week we're in Largs. Following week I think we're going to be a couple of days in St Andrews, with the road going out the back. The council putting the road through our training pitch, so we're struggling a little bit for that, so it's going to be quite difficult, but again the lads will muster through it and they'll get through it, and we'll get them ready for the first game on the 29th.
And Alan Mannis and Paul Payton are due back from international duty quite soon? Yeah,
we'll get a week off. I think they've continuously played and had to keep themselves really fit right up till yesterday, so we'll give them a bit of time off, and I'm sure they'll be raring to come back.
A new player that was joining the team for today, Kyle McLean. How do you rate him as a youngster, 18-year-old midfielder? Yeah, again, 18 years old, but we've got high hopes. Came training with us towards the end of last season. Very impressed with him. So I think he got called up to the Northern Ireland under-21 squad. So he's a prospect. He has a lot to learn. He's got to work really hard. He's got to get to the tempo of our game. And I think these probably 6 to 8 weeks will prove really key for his chances of getting in the first team. And players like him and youngsters like Liam Gordon, Jason Kerr, Aaron Comrie, they're going to be trying to use pre-season as a way to try and prove to the management team that they can be involved in the first team.
They have to. Simple as that. It's up to them. You know, we can give them the chance, we give them the opportunity to stay another year. It's up to them to prove that they want to be here and they want to play in the first team. They don't want to just be a part of the squad. You know, so to me it's up to them completely. How they train, how they perform, you know, and basically put us in a position where we have to put them in the team.
Away from St Johnstone, yesterday obviously you're involved in the Scotland-England match. How did getting involved in the Scotland camp come about with Gordon Strachan? Yeah, I just got a phone call. I think phoned Tommy to make sure it was okay, and then phoned me, asked me if I'd like to join up, and it was a no-brainer. Obviously it's a different summer for me, but in the end, if somebody asked me, you're going to be a first team coach for the Scotland national team against England, you know, at this stage in my coaching career, I'm absolutely delighted. And you know, obviously a big thanks obviously to Tommy and Alec and the rest of the staff who've helped me on my way and to be able to be selected, and then obviously to Gordon and Mark for making me feel so welcome when I was there, you know, and I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. A little bit, again, probably bittersweet, because in the end we should have, once we got the 2-1 up, maybe we should have held on, but you know, the boys put everything into the game. I thought they were fantastic. You know, the attitude from day one when I arrived a week ago, it was great, and you know, what a good bunch of players, and it just showed they were fighting for the manager and fighting for their country. They're desperate to win, and they were absolutely gutted when we got in the dressing room after. But again, if you look at the bigger picture, a point's good, and hopefully we can take that into the next remaining 4 games. What was it like being involved in the team, and what were your duties in the last week? Just picking up the cones. no, John. No, it was great. In the end, Gordon and Mark involved me with everything. You know, so I was involved in everything. So obviously Gordon and Mark made decisions, but my input was it felt just as important. You know, so that was a big thanks to them, and you know, it was just good being about it, and I was always in the meetings, always in the discussions, so involved in training. So yeah, it was great. Great experience for yourself, and I mean, how do you take that and kind of look forward in your coaching career? Are you looking towards management at some point? Yeah, definitely. I think in the end it's different. It's great working with another manager myself, and I've worked with Tommy. So me and Tommy work very well together, very comfortable working with Tommy. You know, I know his way, I know how he thinks, I can see his reactions. So it's interesting to work with another manager and how he works. So again, it's just experience. It's just gaining experience and taking it on board, and you're working with some really top players, and see how they work and take it from there. Just finally, you touched on it there. You're part of the Scotland team that beat England the last time in 1999. Scotland came so close to yesterday. It was a crazy last 6 minutes. Yeah, crazy. You know, really crazy. So it's I don't think I've seen 2 better free kicks in a game of that importance. I think Gordon said it after the game. To be that tired and hit 2 quality free kicks was exceptional from Lee. We probably all thought he'd done enough, but again, you're playing against top teams. You always got to switch on, and you know, I think in the end, hopefully a lot of young Scottish fans are watching the game, and hopefully a little bit more enthused by the national team after that. Just last one. Just what was it like working with Gordon Strachan, and what's he like behind the scenes with the Scotland players? He's great. He's great. He's got a great sense of humour. He works extremely hard. He puts everything into it. It's a real intense week, especially when we're there. It's so intense. You're actually probably mentally tired rather than physically tired after it. So he puts so much into it, and obviously with him and Mark, they're great fun to be about. So he kind of half relaxes it a little bit as well. Cheers, Callum. Okay, cheers.